Rest in peace, Wesley Shepard.
Whoa, he shot him.
He was really just playing chess because he ended up killing him anyway.
Did he?
If you hadn't pointed out, I wouldn't have realized that his dentures fall out while he's singing that song.
He was sitting here like his dentures fall out.
Yeah.
Tom's not gonna
Who decapitated the horseman?
Tom's not on that side of the business, man.
He's just the lawyer, man. Life, Death, and Dope, boys. Welcome to the show.
What up?
I'm Indi. I'm joined by Justin. We got a special guest here. We got Kariem Primm from The Spot podcast.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for joining us today.
No problem at all. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. I know that you're a Godfather veteran.
Man, been watching it for years.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Man. Please be prepared for spoilers for the entirety of The Godfather.
If you haven't seen The Godfather by now, you're messing up.
Yeah, you really are. It's a really good movie. It took me a while to watch it too. I didn't watch it for the first time until my 20s.
Yeah.
And then I rewatched it for the first time during COVID. And this is really actually the first time that I watched it and felt like, okay, I think I actually understand everything that happened in this movie.
Right.
Well, you got time if you want to go back, watch the movie, and then come back and check this out. Or if you're not worried about spoilers, let's go ahead and get into it.
Let's go.
All right, check it. It's late summer 1945, and we're all gathered for the wedding reception of Connie, the daughter of Don Vito Corleone, head of the Corleone mafia family, and they call him Godfather. It's all good vibes, and we're celebrating Connie's union to Carlo Rizzi. Now, Vito's a man you don't want to mess with, but today, folks can ask him for favors because of the Sicilian tradition, saying he can't refuse a request on his daughter's big day. One of the dudes who steps up for a favor is Amerigo Bonasera, a mortician and someone who knows the Don. And I actually did a little bit of research on that custom, the custom about you can't refuse a favor.
Request, right.
And a lot of Italians and even Sicilians haven't even really heard of that.
Yeah, I thought that was straight fictional for the movie. I didn't know that anybody actually did that.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is it specific to the Don?
Yeah, is it like a crime family sort of thing?
Maybe it is.
Yeah, because who else can give favors?
Who else, who else can even do that? Yeah, I just go to people's weddings on a humbug, like, hey, yo, can I have like $500?
Yeah, hey, I need this loan really bad.
Yeah, you can't deny me. Your daughters get married.
But the favors too aren't free. Like they aren't things that he's just like, oh yeah, of course, yeah, I'll do it. You know, I gotta do it, so I guess I have to do it. But they're gonna wind up in some sort of not necessarily like debt, but he even lets them know that he's gonna. I might ask you for something later, but until then, like enjoy this.
That day may never come, but
yeah, I thought that was interesting.
All these people owe me now.
Yeah,
it almost gives you a day to strengthen his power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know.
for real, because I think everyone that you see request something from him throughout the course of this film, they eventually pay him back. He asks for something back in some way.
Yeah.
There's Bonasera, who winds up taking care of Sonny. And then the one guy who Enzo was it? Who winds up helping him at the hospital. Mm-hmm. And then what's the celebrity dude? Johnny Fontane. Yeah, he winds up, they call that in later when Michael goes out to Vegas and asks him to make appearances at the casino after they've purchased it. So it's like you get to see him calling these favors in.
I like the scene with Bonasera. It's a good first scene for a movie. It hooks you immediately.
Now, Bonasera never really wanted to get involved with the Don because of his shady dealings. But it turns out Bonasera's daughter got brutally beaten by two young guys because she refused their advances. And they didn't even get punished all like that. Now, the Don ain't happy with Bonasera, for keeping his distance all this time. But guess what? The Don's wife is the godmother to Bonasera's daughter, and that's leverage right there. The Don's smart, and he uses that connection to get new loyalty from the Undertaker. Yeah, he really digs into him for a while, like right after his story.
Right.
And it creates kind of the situation where you're looking at this dude. You just heard him tell like an awful story. You feeling sorry for him.
They even had to give him a drink.
Yeah. And he's kind of like shaking too when he sips it. He puts it down and it's like, I'm surprised he didn't take that whole shot, how he talking.
Right.
You've got to imagine how the Don feels listening to this story. Like, yeah, this is sad, but why did he's not really about to ask me to handle this, is he? Why haven't you come to me forever ago? That's his whole thing, is this dude does not actually fuck with me. Like, he does not care about our relationship. He's only coming to me because he needs something. Like, I don't feel like listening to this story.
But he's kind of playing chess. The Don is playing chess. He knows the leverage that he has, and he just kind of sets him up. It's like he just tees him up like a golf ball, and then just knocks him out the park. You know what I'm saying? It was cool.
He kind of refused the request, for real.
He definitely refused. That I cannot do.
Yeah.
He literally told him.
He wanted him to kill those dudes, and he was like, nah.
That's not justice.
Yes, your daughter's still alive.
Yo, like, that doesn't even sound like the proper response.
And you can look at it like that, but at the same time, like I say, I think he was really just playing chess because he ended up killing him anyway.
Did he? I thought he just had him beat up.
Oh, nah. Don't make it, he told him not to make it messy, but how do you beat somebody up and not?
Yeah, I guess. Dang.
Sure, he had them cats take it out.
I just was under the assumption he sent like some dudes with some baseball bats, but I guess you could kill someone with a baseball bat.
Yeah.
I thought that they were just roughed up.
Everything that I would feel. I think he helped. I think he dealt with them guys.
Who did he put on that job?
Give this to Clemenza.
Clemenza.
Yeah.
Clemens?
Yeah,
that dude's
Yeah,
dead.
yeah, Clemenza.
Clemenza took them dudes out. Michael, the Don's youngest son and a Marine hero fresh from World War II, rose up with his girl, Kay Adams. He's feeling some real stories about his family, letting her in on their shady past, but he's quick to assure her he's different and ain't about that criminal life. I didn't believe it.
Right then?
Right when he said it, I didn't believe it for a moment.
You didn't believe that he didn't want to get involved with the business?
Yes.
With the family business?
Yeah, I didn't believe it. I was like, I think too, it was from, because I didn't know what happened in The Godfather. I didn't know nothing about the story the first time I watched it.
Right.
But I also know that I'm looking at like Al Pacino. And so I'm like, there's no way that he's like not about that life all the way. Like, especially the way that he's talking about it all nonchalant. It really seemed like he was
talking about how his
just
dad
trying to
and
make
brother,
her
like,
feel better.
That's an interesting take on it. I kind of felt like Michael really didn't want to get. As a matter of fact, I think that Michael despised the family business. Didn't really want to have any.
I thought that's why he went to the military in the first place.
Just even the fact that his father was pulling strings to keep him out of the military, and he went and enlisted. He was trying to keep him from getting drafted, and he went and enlisted.
Oh,
as a shot to, it was almost like we've decided and we got plans. That was one of the things that Tom had said to him. Your father had plans for you, and he was like, y'all have talked about my future. Yeah, we talked about your future. We've had this conversation. My future. So I don't know.
yeah, that sounds like you got some like a chip on the shoulder a little bit about this. And
Yeah, you got a point to prove to some degree. Just being defiant.
I think that's why he brings Kay to the wedding in the first place.
Yeah.
She sticks out like she's out of place.
She really
She
is.
shouldn't be there.
With a bright red dress and a big hat.
Yeah,
she
the
looks
long
super
blonde hair.
out
She's
of
probably the
place.
only blonde at the entire party.
She might have been the only person at the whole event that wasn't Italian, it seemed like.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt that, especially since it's the Don's daughter's wedding, so it's by invitation only.
Right.
And they invited like other mafia families.
Yeah.
They invited other Dons. Like, who in there would even fit like in an Italian ceremony? And then I also feel like you only really gonna get an invitation if you are like special from this whole like the Don has to entertain all requests
Right.
type thing. It's like
Randos are not getting in there to ask the Don for things.
nah.
No.
The whole wedding's popping off, and Michael's brother Fredo is hella drunk when he finally finds them. Then there's Sonny, the eldest child and next in line to take over as the Don. But let me tell you, he's a real hot-headed player, sneaking off to hook up with one of Connie's bridesmaids, Lucy Mancini. My first impression of Fredo was already like, all right, who even is this dude? Because he doesn't really like, hey guys, I'm Fredo, Nah, he just stumbles up, kind of like,
Slides in.
You're drunk at your sister's wedding? Your brother's here? You didn't even know he was here.
He's all slimy. No, it's the way that he's all up on Kay like.
He hasn't met him before.
To meet ya.
He almost looked like a cardboard figure that somebody just slid into the scene.
Oh, that's right, though. He's drunk. And then you don't see him for the rest of the wedding.
Nope.
Do you remember what your first impression of Sonny was?
My first impression of Sonny was tough guy.
Mm-hmm.
Tough guy, hot head. At that time, I didn't pay too much attention to the fact that Sonny was in training to be the Don.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really looking at him. He didn't give me that energy. Yeah, he didn't give me that energy at all. And so when I was looking at Sonny, I was like, okay, I'm just kind of checking him out and seeing how he is. But he just seemed like he had this kind of aura that he wasn't really taking. He was just enjoying the fruits of the labor of being in the Corleone family and the benefits that came with it.
I can see
but
that.
he really wasn't really studying.
Right. It seemed like he was doing everything else. Like he wasn't in the room with Tom and Vito when he's entertaining these requests. And the first time I saw that, I was like, all right, maybe he has leave to do kind of like whatever he wants. It's his sister's wedding, he's partying, it's whatever. Tom has to be there since he's the consigliere, he's the counselor to the Don. So maybe it's just like one of those things where this is kind of an intimate type situation. But then later on, when he's entertaining someone else and then Sonny walks into the room and the Don kind of looks back and he's like,
You spend time with your family? Because a man who doesn't spend time with his family can never be a real man.
yeah, I'm like, nah, he said that for Sonny.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't talking about family or none of that stuff.
Nothing. And Sonny knew it. Like, he could feel it. Like, he looked over at Tom like, man, what did I do? You know what I'm saying?
Supposed to be here. Just like the amount of frivolity that he's involved in,
Yeah.
I didn't see him as like the successor to the Don at all.
No, not at all.
Just knowing how movies go, I didn't realize that he was Michael's brother when you first see him in the room banging the chick. I didn't realize that he was a relative until he's like smashing reporters' cameras and stuff. I liked Sonny because I like characters like him who are hotheads, full of bravado, doing crazy stuff. But like seeing the character he was, watching it, it was like, this is a mob movie. That dude's gonna die. Something's gonna happen. He's gonna blow up at the wrong person. He's gonna die.
And that's exactly what happened.
Damn tropes.
But this is the era that created those tropes, though.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about Tom Hagen. He ain't blood kin, but he's like one of the Don's own because they found him homeless in Little Italy. The Don took him under his wing, raised him up, and got him a solid education. Now he's a top-notch lawyer and getting groomed to be the consigliere despite not being Sicilian. And at this point in the film, Tom is my favorite of the Don sons.
Okay.
I really liked Tom. I'm like, all right, he seems like he's strategic. He's like put together. He's got like the vest and he's reserved.
I like Tom too.
He's thoughtful. It seems like he's on the same, not on the same level thought wise as the Don,
Same
but on
wavelength,
the same wavelength, on the same path. Yeah. So I was a big fan of Tom Hagen when he showed up.
Yeah, Tom was a cool dude. I like Tom.
I like that he's a two-name person.
Tom Hagen.
He's part of the family, like.
But that's Tom Hagen.
Yeah. Tom was cool though. I like Tom. I like the idea of him being the one that had, because naturally he had to be the one that was educated. He had to be the one that went to law school. Somebody like, you can't just fill that role and just be anybody.
Right.
You just can't have great ideas and be the advisor to the Don, the counselor to the Don. So it showed that Tom was trying to earn his keep. He wasn't a blood son in the family, so he's trying to earn his keep. He's going to do everything that he can, and he's super loyal.
Yeah.
Right.
And like you said, he got a special business. He only got one client. And that's it.
Hey.
Yeah.
But it kind of goes to show later on when after the assassination attempt on the Don, and when he says, if the Don dies, then we should take the deal. And Sonny's like, well, it's easy for you to say, he's not your father. And Tom is like, I'm just as much a son of him as you or Michael.
Yeah.
And Sonny shuts up.
Yeah.
Like he
He
doesn't.
just kind of.
Yeah.
You got a point.
That's just the end of that conversation. There's respect for
Right.
Tom. The wedding scene is, to me, it's crucial because it does set up and introduce like a lot of the other key players that are in the movie.
It introduces almost every other character in the movie.
Every major person.
Yeah.
Every major person.
Yeah.
Like other
The cop,
than
Sollozzo, and Ezio are the only people who aren't
and
at the wedding.
Apollonia.
Yeah, and Apollonia.
But other than that, like everybody is at the wedding.
Yeah.
Even people who kind of like don't really play like a major role.
No.
Like the guy whose dentures fall out while he's singing the song.
Yeah.
On his like.
If you hadn't pointed it out, I wouldn't have realized he was at the Don meeting.
Yeah, he's at the Dom meeting at the end. If you hadn't pointed out, I wouldn't have realized that his dentures fall out while he's singing that song.
Still sitting here like his dentures fall out.
Yeah. Check the clip. It's right here, right now. The guy's dentures fall right out.
That's crazy.
It's pretty funny when I saw it again. I was like, hey. He keep going though. You know,
Yeah,
right.
the show
You
goes
gotta keep
on.
Pops those bad boys right back in and keep
Keep it
singing that song.
Yeah, he doesn't even touch his mouth. He's a natural. The Don's got his crew rolling deep too. Luca Brasi is there showing respect to the boss. He's the enforcer in the underground world, and you best believe he's got a reputation that'll give anyone the chills. And then there's Nazarene, the baker who made Connie's wedding cake. He's got a request for the Don too. His daughter's falling for this guy named Enzo, and Nazarene wants the Don to pull some strings to make Enzo an American citizen. Talk about connections, man. That kind of is what clued me into how powerful this dude actually is. Like what kind of reach he has. In order to be able to pull strings to make someone an American citizen, you gotta have some influence. And so I'm like, all right, he must be connected to some like politicians, some government workers.
I feel the same way, but in a broader context, in that he tells Tom not to give it to one of their own congressmen, give it to somebody else in another district so that it never even
Traces back.
Yeah, so there's never even any suspicion. What did he say, like some Jewish dude in New York or something? Like no one would have ever...
Don't give it to anyone Paisan, which is anybody Italian. So it's not even, don't even give it to...
A family member.
Yeah, just don't even give it to somebody who's Italian. Give it to somebody who's a Jewish person and a congressman in another district. That I thought was like really, really, it showed to me that this whole thing, this whole wedding was almost like the stage for, you know, it's almost like if you're going to bring everybody together.
At the celebration, we got some A-list guests, including the one and only Johnny Fontane. He's Don Vito's godson, and he came all the way from Hollywood to get some help from the Don. Johnny's career ain't looking too high, and he's hoping the Don can hook him up with a movie role that's gonna bring him back on top. But hold up, it ain't that simple. There's this big shot studio head, Jack Waltz, and he straight up denies Johnny the part. Don Corleone drops some wisdom on Johnny saying, I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse. And that's the second time we heard that phrase, an offer he can't refuse. So the first time we were getting some context, it was when Michael was telling Kay
story, right.
that story about, you know, getting that deal. He made him an offer he can't refuse. And she's like, what kind of offer is that?
Come on, sweetheart. I'll give you 2 guesses.
So we kind of have an idea of the kind of activity that's getting ready to happen in order to get Johnny this part. But Don was not liking dude crying on his desk.
No, it like pissed him off immediately. I think it's like the strongest emotion that Vito Corleone...
In the whole movie.
Yeah.
In like part 1 and part 2. You know what I'm saying? You never really see that. That right there really got up under his skin. Really.
Be a man.
Yeah.
What the hell doing?
Wow.
That was like,
Slaps him in the face.
straightens him up. I'm like, okay.
Because it must have been totally out of character from what, because the Don kind of raised Johnny Fontane.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he, you know, he raised him. So he's saying, you know, you went out to California, you done got soft. You're not the guy, I'm not used to this right here.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I wonder what he's used to.
Yeah.
Not all that crying, that's for
Not all
sure.
that.
Because
Sure.
like, all right, if he's his godson, and you see in this movie kind of what it takes to be someone's godfather.
Right.
You got to be there, like the baby's born.
Constantly.
You got to be there.
Your parent number 3.
No, you're at the baptism.
Yeah.
And you're baptized too. And it's like, all right, so this is a very involved relationship, and he's not just his godson for no reason.
Right.
He's known this guy for his whole life. Like, the dude he must be talking to right now must be radically different from the dude who left to go to California.
Valid.
Got Hollywood.
After the wedding, Hagen gets sent out to LA to meet up with Waltz. But the dude's all mad and stuff, telling him he ain't never gonna cast Fontane for that role. And you know why? Because Fontane messed up Waltz's plans big time. He got involved with this starlet Waltz was grooming for Hollywood and messing around with. But Fontane swooped in and ruined all that, so Waltz is salty.
He's salty.
He's real salty. He blows up on Tom for
both
times.
Yeah.
Like the first time he doesn't know who he is, and he's like racist, just like throwing slurs at him, like get out of my face. And he's like, I'm German.
Oh, big friend. Wow.
But for real, Fontane was politicking wrong. Like he kind of got himself into this situation.
Yeah, he was kind of doing the Sonny.
Yeah.
In L.A. You know, he was kind of Sonny.
The Sonny shuffle. Over there.
Yeah, that's what he was. And Waltz was like he really took that serious. You could kind of see he was a principled person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he didn't build the name for himself. He's the big guy in Hollywood. You know, and he was like, okay, you know, any favor that you want him to ask, he can ask any favor, but I can't give him this one. And it was like, it wasn't like side hate. Like it was straight, I'm gonna let you know why I hate on this dude. You know what I'm saying?
I'll be more frank with you.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Now he up in your face. Like,
I'm trying to eat dinner, bro. Why are you standing over me hollering?
Major.
It was probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
I
really enjoyed that
Fontane
part.
will never get that movie.
It's perfect for him.
And then after you disrespect Tom, disrespect Vito, disrespect Johnny, you take this man through your house and show him all your most prized possessions.
That was when he thought they was cool.
Yeah.
He
that
thought
was
they
before
was friends
dinner.
first. Yeah, that was before dinner. You know,
He's kind of trying to win some favor back, I think, because he feels like he may have insulted him when he approached him the first time. I mean, Tom didn't really show any emotion or anything. He didn't get, he wasn't visibly miffed.
It was business for Tom.
Yeah.
You know, and he figured once you find out who I am, like he said, you know, I don't like to throw his name around.
So let me tell you how Hagen talked him into it, though. The next morning, Waltz wakes up early, and what does he feel? Something all wet in his bed. Man, he pulls back the sheets, and there it is, a pool of blood. But it gets even worse. When he looks closer, he screams like crazy because he finds the head of his prize stud horse, Khartoum, right there. Hit him right in the pockets. Well, right in the pocket.
Do you think Tom knew he was going to decapitate the horse?
Do you think Tom decapitated the horse?
Who else did?
Well, Tom didn't do it.
Who else did? Who decapitated the horse then? Tom's the only one who went out there.
Yeah.
Tom's not gonna
Who decapitated the horse then?
Tom's not on that side of the business, man.
He's just the lawyer, man.
That throws off all of my views on it. I'm like Tessio now. That throws up all my plans.
Who
that
else?
would be interesting.
Who else did it?
Maybe I don't know. Maybe
It's a connection.
They had
Maybe he
connections
got
in Hollywood,
you know?
probably.
You send some cats out to get it done. You know, hire a couple of goons.
And maybe he had
to get it done.
Maybe he paid the stable hands to do it.
Yeah,
Somebody got to get close enough to that horse.
Yeah, it could have been somebody. Somebody had to get close enough to the horse to decapitate it.
$600,000 and 4 hoops is the way that he described it.
That's like picturing Tom with like his nice dress shirt and his vest, the sleeves rolled up with an axe.
I can't even.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money though, because he was planning on breeding the horse.
$600,000 in 1945.
Yeah.
Woo.
I don't even know what the calculations are.
I don't either, but I know it was a lot.
It's a lot today.
Yeah, it's a lot today.
A lot today. That was a hell of a scene.
That was a really cool scene.
That whole scene starting from the time that he
Wakes up.
Well, I'm talking about because it's kind of sets it up when he's talking about like when he first gets to LA. You know, that little side conversation that he had when he pulls him to the side. All right, what do you want? You know, and he's signing papers while Tom is talking. And then the look when he said, you know, get that part for Johnny Fontane, and he looks up and then looks over at the other guy, you know what I'm saying? Like, that look right there gave me a clue, okay, this guy is serious. Like, he like, who are you to even be
talking to me about Johnny Fontane? I hate that dude.
You could see it. It was on his face. It was right there, clear on his face. I thought that was I said, this right here is going to be, I'm interested to see how this thing is going to evolve. That scene right there kind of sucked you in.
So Hagen's back in town, and the fam gathers up to meet this dude named Virgil the Turk Sollozzo, who's getting support from the rival Tattaglia family. Sollozzo comes at Don Corleone with a proposal talking about how he wants financing, political connections, and legal protection to bring in and push heroin. Now the Don ain't having it. He's all about that old school game, and he knows jumping into drugs would mess up his political connects. The judges and politicians he's been tight with for years will straight up drop him if he gets mixed up in the drug game. So do you think it would have been a better decision to say yes to this deal, or at least like give it some more thought before straight up shutting it down?
Speaking from context, no, I think it was the right thing to do, but we've had decades of history on how heroin affected communities. 1945, they have no context. I don't know. It would have been way harder to say no. He just had such good forethought and foresight.
Yeah.
To know what would happen if poison got introduced into his, neighborhoods and communities.
Like, I understand his caution, but there's this other element of like political power.
Because, and I think that might have been more of his worries. Remember, Sollozzo had did time back home for
drug trafficking.
So it wasn't that and it wasn't nothing but Italians over there.
Right.
So if you coming over here, that's just the business. It's like, he said, I don't, it's a dirty business is the way that he described it to a lot. So I don't have no, opinion on what he does to make money or makes a living. But the drug business is a dirty business. And I think that it had more to do with tearing down, the friends that he had established at that point, or the people at least that was loyal to him to that point. Tom did a good job of explaining to him, of course, Sonny was like, it's a lot of money.
All about the money.
It's all about the money. And Tom kind of did a good job of kind of talked about, it's a thing of the future. Us not getting into it, if the other families get into it, it could threaten our position. Maybe not now, but for sure, 10 years from now.
Sonny, though, he's all hyped up on the potential profit. He's been pushing the family to get in on the drug business from the start. So during this meeting, he starts calling out Sollozzo's promises, wondering if the Tattaglias got their back for real. But the Don ain't having none of that family drama in front of an outsider. He pulls Sonny aside later and gives him a piece of his mind for acting out.
Sonny hasn't been paying attention at all to what it takes to be the Don. He's got the perfect example. I often wonder, like, what was the model that Sonny used to develop the personality that he had? It's like you didn't see that personality nowhere
else in the family.
The family, where did he get that from?
How far back does Godfather 2 go? How young do you see Vito?
Vito, Vito is 9.
When you first, he's nothing like, he's stoic the whole time?
Yeah, he didn't even talk. Like they couldn't even get him to talk.
Because I don't know, maybe, because Michael's the only one that's like him. Because Fredo wasn't like him either.
Fredo.
Tom is like him, but he's just not trained up on
but I mean like
the business.
Biologically, genetically.
Yeah, right. How did Fredo end up like that?
Yeah.
Where did this dude come
from?
I
think Fredo and Sonny have just, like you said, not been paying attention. They have just been enjoying being the sons of a crime figure.
I think for Fredo, it could be that he doesn't have the personality for it. He doesn't have the guts.
Right.
For Sonny, it's probably just, America, the sensationalizing of celebrities, Hollywood stars, brands. Like, he's looking at the benefits of being in this mob family. He kind of was raised came up like a rich kid.
Yeah, exactly. All of them did. I think that's why Fredo's the way he is too. They never had any worries. Michael was in World War II. He was a Marine. He could have been at Normandy or on the Pacific coast or whatever. He saw some crazy stuff while Fredo and Sonny have been like kicking it, cheating on their wives and drinking and stuff.
Yeah.
He's built differently than they are.
Oh, yeah. Then the Don sends Luca Brasi on a secret mission to get the lowdown on Sollozzo's crew. But man, things go south real quick. While Luca's chatting up Bruno Tattaglia, he gets stabbed in the hand by Sollozzo, and just like that, the hitman finishes the job with the garage.
Luca was the most loyal person in the whole movie, in my opinion.
Yeah?
He was the type that thinking was not even part of his makeup.
Right.
Whatever the Don needed me to do, even at the wedding when he came and was practicing his lines in order to be able to get in and talk to the Don. And Tom said he wanted to come and show his gratitude because he didn't even expect to be invited.
Right. He didn't even expect to be invited. And then he got the invitation. And I thought it was really cool to see because everyone else who had a meeting with him that we saw asked for something. He didn't even ask for nothing. He was just like,
happy to be
he
here.
He actually gave him some chips for the daughter's bridal purse.
Yeah.
Gave him the envelope, you know what I'm saying? The child is a masculine child. Can't get no bigger than that. Oh my God. He knew exactly what to say. I'm like, man, Luca is just, and then the way he bowed out and dipped, like he was gone. Like
Then he was gone.
He was like, wow.
The most loyal, but they didn't even assume for a moment that he might be dead.
No, it was almost like Luca was the invincible guy that you always felt was going to be there to protect you. So, no, I don't think they did. And like I said, I think you said he was filling them out. They might have been just kind of filling them out to see. And when he wouldn't shake his hand based on the deal, I think that sealed it for him.
Yeah.
That let them know.
I agree.
Because he was principled that way. They knew,
too
okay.
loyal.
Yeah, so they kind of knew what type of person he was. They knew that if he would have shook his hand, they would have trusted it. Because he was just that.
It was like after he took the cigarette, it was like the deal, the whole conversation took a weird vibe shift.
Because they reached out for the handshake and he like pulled out the pack of cigarettes and was like, I'm gonna smoke a cigarette. And they're like, but it seemed like that's something that you would do if you are stalling. Like, if you offer me a deal and I don't want to take it, but I don't know really what to do, like I'm like looking for something else. I'll be like, let me take a drink of my coffee first and then I'll shake your hand. It seemed like it was something like that. Yeah,
it was definitely a tactic to not, it was something to keep him from having to shake his hand, for sure.
Yeah, it was a good job. I think the Don just chose the wrong man for the job.
Should have chose a better actor.
Yeah.
Chose somebody who can lie.
Right after that meetup with Sollozzo, Don Corleone gets hit in an assassination attempt right outside his office. Fredo Corleone was supposed to be his pop's driver and protection for that day because Paulie Gatto, the usual bodyguard, called in sick. But man, Fredo couldn't hold it down. He was all nervous and clumsy, couldn't even shoot back.
Couldn't even hold the gun.
Typical Fredo, though.
Those commercials of people like, do you have trouble pouring your water into a pitcher? And they're like trying to pour it, spill everything all over the place. That was Fredo with the gun.
He looked like a cartoon character.
Like he pulled it out and then like tossed it into the air.
Can't hold on to your gun.
That was the weakest moment that I've ever seen on film.
You are now watching Life, Death, and Dope Boys.
Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
Stand him up. Stand him up straight.
I've never seen nobody. I've never seen nobody that weak in
Like, was the gun slippery when he pulled it out?
He just
Fredo
probably
looked like
never
he had
pulled a gun
never
out.
handled a gun
Yeah.
in his life. Like it probably wasn't even his gun.
He wasn't
I
that
don't
dude
think
in the
so.
family.
He didn't look like it.
He was the party dude in the family.
was
Every time you
fishing.
see Fredo, he's drinking or partying.
Yeah, really.
He's that dude.
You know, even when he was telling the Don, because the Don at that point, I'm not even sure if he would have even went if he knew that Fredo was the only one that was going to be there. He made the decision to go. When he made the decision to go, he thought that Paulie
Was gonna, yeah, he
was
thought it was
gonna
gonna
be
be
there.
Paulie.
He told him to tell Paulie to bring your car around.
Right.
Oh, Paulie's sick. Yeah, don't worry, I'll do it, Pop. Like it's not even in Fredo's mind, the security aspect of it.
Right.
He's just looking at,
I'm driving my dad.
Going on a ride with my dad.
This dude. That's some typical Fredo type stuff, though.
Wow. Paulie was definitely in on it, though. As soon as he said that he called out sick, I was like, oh, something's about to happen. Paulie was in on it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect anything like that because up until that point in the movie for me, The Godfather is still a family movie. No gangster. Oh, I guess the horse got his head cut off, but like you haven't seen any other gangster stuff happen like that. Like it's a family movie. They're out doing family stuff. He's just going to go get some
It's
fruit.
just politics.
I did not expect. Oh, Paulie's sick. All right, no problem.
Yeah.
Well, Sollozzo had to get to Paul. Sollozzo was pitching a lot of people. He had to. I've never seen this in the movie, but who had the conversation with Paulie that made Paulie? It had to be somebody that told Paulie, look, the family isn't as strong as it is. We're about to take the Don out and we gonna run this thing. If you want a higher position, because you remember Paulie, he's an opportunist. Even at Connie's wedding,
He was on some shady stuff.
he was on some shady. When he was looking at all that money going in that purse, he literally said it out loud.
Yeah.
If this was somebody else's wedding,
I would be trying to get
Foreshadowing I didn't even catch.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he was an opportunist.
Yeah,
for sure.
definitely. For a minute, I wondered about Fredo, too, whether or not he was in on it. Because, like, I saw him fumbling around with the gun like that, and I'm like, I don't know if he was
You didn't want to believe that Fredo was that inept.
that inept. I really didn't. I was like, ain't no way.
Believe
Like,
it.
he's still the Don's
Believe
son.
it.
He's that
Believe
son.
it.
He's still
You're
the
like,
Don's son.
this is a guy that I'm talking about. If you see the actor that played Fredo, like today, you would just be like, whatever.
Probably why he survives. Fredo is zero threat.
Yeah.
Fredo
They
is-
didn't even shoot at him. They didn't even stay.
Zero
They
threat.
shot all of their bullets into or at Vito,
And then left.
They were like, "Oh, hey, Fredo." All right, we out. When Sonny gets wind of the Don being shot and Paulie going MIA, he calls up his father's captain, Peter Clemenza, and tells him to track down Paulie and bring his behind straight to the Don's crib. Yeah, you know it's over for Paulie from there. But this is also when he gets the phone call. Sollozzo has already taken Tom at this point.
Yes.
And he calls Sonny not on some like ransom stuff, but just on some like, hey, I got Tom.
Hear me out.
Yeah, hear him out. When he gets him, send him back to you. I'm gonna let him go. A couple hours. When he gets to you, just hear him out. In today's film, movies and TV, I'm used to if somebody gets kidnapped, taken, snatched.
Yeah, that's
there's
the plot
like-
point now.
yeah. Their ransom. Oh, how are we gonna? Oh, we got to go rescue Tom type. But nah, it was business. Sollozzo, he's trying to steal the deal, right? So he goes and snatches the family consigliere, Tom Hagen, and takes him to this deserted joint, Joe's Diner in Brooklyn. He's all up in Tom's face trying to persuade him to work out a deal with Sonny and the Corleone fam. Now, Tom, he ain't one to back down, but he promises to give it a shot. But yo, he warns Sollozzo that if Brazzi finds out the Don's gone, not even Sonny can hold him back. Brazzi's a beast, man. But here's the twist. Tom ain't even know that Sollozzo already off Brazzi like an hour before. This is the part in the movie where I started seeing Sollozzo as like a really good villain. I was like, okay, this dude is good. This dude is hard for real. I really like him as a villain. He's probably one of my favorite movie villains now.
I like when villains come up with actually good plans.
Yeah, because they try to write good plans for villains nowadays, but they always wind up like somehow.
I really don't see how they would have beaten Sollozzo and stopped his machinations if Michael was not there.
Nobody else was equipped.
You kill Vito, you get Tom to convince Sonny, and that's
Tom
it.
already feels like it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So it's not even like something that you're...
Or you kill Vito and Sonny and make Fredo the Don.
Oh, no.
If Michael wasn't there, what else does the Corleone family do?
Because the Corleone family still needs power. They still need political connections. And none of those police officers or politicians would respect that relationship with the Corleone family anymore if Fredo was the Don.
I'm not disagreeing with you completely.
So if that was Sollozzo's plan, then we could pick it apart. This plan is unpick-apartable.
You know, is thanks to Sonny, because it was the meeting that he had with the Don when he, being observant, observed Sonny's response.
Yeah, his outburst.
His outburst. That right there, the idea was planted right there. I think that conceptualized, the plan was born at that moment.
Man, and I'm sitting there like, did he just come up with this? Did this just popped into this dude's head? Like, this plan is amazing for him to... And I think at this point, he kind of already had a lot of chips. Like, he's already being backed by the Tatalias, and he's kind of silently being supported by the other Dons. So this isn't something that he's coming to the Corleones at like, hey, you know, I have this brilliant idea, you know, do you want to do this? It's like, no, this is something that's about to happen, but we need your help in order to make it smooth, and you can make some money too. Turns out the Don survived the hit on him. Sollozzo's all mad and stuff when he hears that. He's like, Tom, you better go and convince Sonny to take my deal. But Sonny is livid. He tells the Tatalias straight up, you better hand over Sollozzo or it's going to be a straight up war in here. And for me, this is where Sollozzo's plan falls apart. This is the part that he didn't calculate for, because he did see Sonny's outburst at the meeting. I think he mistook it for disloyalty.
Yeah, or what's the word? Sedition, I think. in the
Yeah.
ranks. Like,
On behalf of Sonny?
On behalf of Sonny. And yeah, it was disrespectful. And I'm sure that, you know, the Don saw it as like, you know, don't do that because it makes you look like, it makes you a target. It makes you look like something that can be
you think
implemented.
Sollozzo read too much into it?
A little bit too much. I think he did expect, like he said as much, that he expected Sonny to blow up and, you know, get mad at the assassination, but he still figured that Tom could still convince him to.
Yeah.
Or that Sonny was
He
still
said
a
that'd be
businessman?
his first reaction, but that's what he said.
Exactly.
That'd be his first reaction, but it's up to you to convince him that this is the best. You know it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Sonny was hot for my idea, and you knew it was the right thing to do. So the Don was the only thing in the way.
I think Sollozzo just really underestimates how much everybody likes Vito. At least in his own family.
Yeah, and owes him favors.
Yeah.
He's loyal.
Yeah.
You know, the loyalty.
But those Tatalias, they ain't backing down. Instead, they send Sonny a message Sicilian style. They wrap up 2 dead fish in Luca Brasi's bulletproof vest and send it to him. The message? Luca Brasi sleeps with the fishes. Sonny, it doesn't seem like he even really understands the message.
I'm wondering whether the message was from, whether the message was for Sonny or whether the message was for Hagen. Because Sonny was not privy to him saying, you let me take care of Luca.
Right.
He would have had no context.
He would have had no context. But when Hagen seen they got Luca, that let him know, man, this guy is, you know, we thought that this was going to be the guy that he was going to be scared. When I said that, it was meant to strike fear in him.
Yeah.
And he didn't already took care of this dude. He's serious about what he's doing.
Tactical. He's precise.
Yeah.
I respect this dude's plan. Like, I understand the Corleones are the main character, but like, a part of me was just like, all right, big respect to this Sollozzo dude. Like, he's written well. Like, a lot of times the villains are kind of written to be bumbling or hotheads, or like they send their henchmen to go do, all right, take this guy out.
Yeah.
Somebody kill him.
Like a Sonny type guy.
Yeah, like a Sonny type guy. But this dude is Don level when it comes to his scheming. All right, so it's Clemenza, Paulie, and Rocco Lamponi. They all roll out into Manhattan, you know, just cruising around. Sonny's got this whole plan to go to the mattresses, which means setting up these secret spots for Corleone buttonmen to do their thing if a crime war pops off. On the way back from Manhattan, Clemenza's got to take a leak, so they pull over in some quiet, isolated spot. And that's when things get real messed up. Rocco straight up shoots Paulie, leaving him and the car behind.
At what point, if you were Paulie, would you have realized that something was amiss?
Man, first of all,
because he's at the meeting trying to fake sick.
Yeah. Oh, guys, he's like, yeah, go and get you somebody offers some brandy.
Well, as soon as Rocco gets in the car, he knows something's wrong. You know, he kind of tells him, you know, Rocco, why don't you move to the side a little bit?
Yeah. Why you sitting right behind me, bro?
In the mirror. You know what I'm saying? It's like, there's something about this don't feel right. I've seen this movie somewhere before. So he kind of had a feeling, but then, you know, Clemenza was so, you know, kind of joking with him and this, that, and the other, you know, talking to him like he talks to him. And he kind of had that posture with him all the time, even at the wedding.
Yeah.
You know, Paulie, more wine.
Yeah.
Take a walk around the block. Like, what?
He took the whole picture from him.
Oh, he does.
Yeah. Even still, like, if I was Paulie, I wouldn't be trying to go nowhere with Clemenza. I mean, don't really have a choice. Can't just say no. Hey, you know, come and do this. He's a captain. So you can't just be like, nah, I'm good.
Right.
But he's like leaking guilt.
Well, I mean, after what happened, it was like you're immediately the prime suspect for traitor.
Do you think that
you never call off sick? You call off sick the day the Don gets shot, man. It's too coincidental. You're immediately the prime suspect.
But I guess like all right, so Sonny already thinks that he definitely he was in on it.
He was in on it.
But do you think that this car ride was set up to kill Paulie? Or do you think that it was set up to feel him out?
No.
To feel out Paulie?
Paulie got to go.
It was a two birds, one stone. They had to cruise around to the mattresses and do what they had to do.
They still had to do
and
that.
Then, before we go back, Sonny said he doesn't want to see this dude anymore. So
Michael, who the other mafia families think ain't even involved in their shady business, rolls up to visit his pops at a small private hospital. But hold up, there ain't no guards around the Don. The nurse spills the tea saying dudes were interfering with hospital service, and the cops sent them packing like 10 minutes before Mike got there. For me, I was like, interfering with hospital service? Like, what service? There's nobody here. Like,
yeah, 10 o'clock at night.
That was sus. As soon as Michael walked in, I knew what the deal was. It was like, and it was like, ma'am, do you know who is here? Do you know who this man is in this bed?
She might be the only nurse who doesn't know, because every other nurse is out of there.
Yeah, she didn't know. She had no clue.
The bodyguards and everybody was sent home, and all the other nurses was like, okay, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going home. I'm going on lunch.
They don't think Michael's like in the game, but do Marines not have a reputation in 1945? He survived World War II. Like, you'd have to think something of the man.
I mean, he has
very
everybody's
similar
respect, but he's not seen as a threat.
He's not a threat at all.
Because he's not in the, like...
And you can tell when, you know, the way that the police dealt with him.
Phil, take him in.
Kid's clean, Captain. He's a war hero. He's never been...
God damn it, I said take him in.
The first thing that the guy said, he's a civilian. You know, you know, we don't want to rough him up. He's a war hero.
Yeah, he's got a reputation.
Yeah.
But, like, he's not seen as someone who's in the... And I guess that's a big difference between, like, crime then and crime today.
Maybe the reputation is just because of patriotism, like...
Nah, I think it's just, like, honor among thieves type stuff. Because... You know, nowadays somebody will get caught in the crossfires or something, and it's just like, oh, I guess they were just a casualty of war. But like, these people actively avoid dealing with civilians in that capacity.
And it's not like they feared him as that. It was more like revering and respected him. He's a war hero. It's not like Rocky Balboa.
Yeah.
I mean, Sylvester Stallone, Rambo. It's not like Rambo where you think he's just running around killing everybody. You just kind of... It's like he's a war hero.
Smelling the setup, Michael is like, nah, bruh, not on my watch, homie. He rings up Sonny for backup, moves his dad to another room, and heads outside to keep an eye on the entrance. And you know what? Homie even gets some help from Enzo, remember him? Who's at the hospital to show his respect. Together, they straight up bluff Sollozzo's goons as they roll by. And during this scene, like when he moves Don Vito, seeing him like over the Don's body and like, you know, I'm with you, and then like kiss his hand, I'm like, this is it. This is the moment where he chooses that he's about this life. Like he's decided right now that he has to get
I'm with
involved.
you. That's it.
This is probably, up to this point, this is probably the biggest scene in the movie.
Yeah.
This is the biggest scene in the movie. So, you know, the way that he takes command of the room.
Yeah.
With the nurse there who had no clue, the clueless nurse. Like, she was literally about to leave. You know what I'm saying? She had said what she had to say. You need to leave. And then, I'm not even going to stay here and escort you out. She just goes. But he stops her and says, you know, wait a second, while he's talking to Sonny on the phone. And, you know, one of the things that stuck out to me was the fact that he brought attention to the fact that Tessio's men wasn't there, which was a clue to me. Tessio's men was the ones who was supposed to be there on security in there.
Catch that.
And then Sonny would always, you know, keep some protection around Michael, this, that, and the other. But then he said, you know, don't panic. He must have told him don't panic, because Michael's response was, I won't panic. And he hung up the phone. So it kind of shows the difference between Michael's perception of who he is and everybody else's perception of Mike and Mike was. It's almost like they treating Michael like he's Afredo.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, they treating Michael like he's Afredo. Like, don't get him, you know.
You might tear him.
Send some security with him and that type of thing. So it's an interesting thing. But that right there was like, this is the number one. And another thing in that scene that it stood out to me was how loyal Enzo was. Like, first of all, Enzo looked like a straight up gangster coming.
Yeah, he did.
He looked like he was really about to just shoot the whole hospital.
Flowers, like.
And I knew that there was a gun behind those flowers. I had no clue that they were just flowers, you know. And Enzo, you know, his whole thing was, you know, if there's going to be trouble, and then I'll stay and help, you know, for your father.
Right,
you know?
right. This dude is the reason why I'm here.
Right.
Now.
Yeah. So.
But wait, the drama ain't over yet. The cops show up, and guess who's with them? The crooked Captain McCluskey, who goes all out and throws a nasty punch at Michael when he hints that Sollozzo bribed McCluskey to set up his pops. Just when things look rough, Hagen swoops in with some private detectives packing heat, licensed to protect Don Corleone. They scoop up the injured Michael and get him home safe and sound. And man, Michael gets rocked.
I'd like to reiterate, McCluskey looks like he's like 78 years old. That man has a right hook
on him. Michael is out cold.
Yeah.
And and his cheek is messed up. His jaw is messed up for like the rest of the movie.
Yeah. That was a hell of a hit. Like, that jaw was done. And the way his body just melted like a noodle.
Yeah, dude's holding his arms back. Like, that's dirty, man. That's
McCluskey, man. He's a dirty cop.
They make, and this is the first time you meet McCluskey.
Yeah.
And they make you hate him out.
Immediately.
Right off the bat.
You gotta.
Yeah, you gotta. And that ain't the end of it. Sonny takes matters into his own hands and handles business. He takes out Bruno Tattaglia, the underboss of Don Philip Tattaglia. I don't even show that on screen, man. I actually wondered if that was like one of the deleted scenes that
was which one?
Sonny going to kill Bruno Tattaglia.
I don't think that was. I don't think they had a scene for that at all. I don't remember it.
Like, it could go right over your head if you're not paying attention, because it's like they're pulling up to the gate and somebody says something to...
It was Clemenza.
It was Clemenza?
Tessio. That to me let me know how sporadic the decision to do it was that Clemenza didn't even know. He pulls up and is like, what's up with all the men? You know what I'm saying? All the extra people here. You know, Tessio lets him know. So he was so mad. He hit Bruno Tattaglia, 3 o'clock this morning or whatever time it was. But it was like, okay, all right, it's on.
He took out his equal in the Tattaglia family.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, now their family. I don't know if there was another one lined up, but it's like their main successor is dead now. Sollozzo wants to meet up with the Corleones. But get this, Captain McCluskey is going to be rolling with them like his personal bodyguard. Michael steps up and says he'll get both of them done during the meeting. Sonny and the other OG family members, they find it hilarious at first, thinking he's just messing around. But Michael ain't joking, man. He's dead serious. And he lays it down why it's got to go down like that. And Michael's plan is solid.
He's like scary serious too.
Super solid.
Man, he's been thinking about this plan.
Since he got knocked out, probably.
Probably.
Since he walked in there and saw that nobody was there with his dad.
Not even really, because he doesn't learn about the meeting until...
he came up with it right then on the spot.
On the spot.
He was talking it out as he was saying it. They say they say that they don't want a weapon on me, right? You know what I'm saying? He's really spelling the plan out. He's coming up with it in real time.
He's motivated.
He's particularly suited. This is like a Sollozzo level plan.
Yeah, I was about to say.
But it's got to be to take out Sollozzo.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Dude is like I don't know what, he was a Marine overseas, but he must have been like, because he was well decorated. When he showed up at the wedding, he was in his...
Bro, he survived World War II, and he was a Marine. Those badges are for some...
I
he has
feel
medals
like
for a
he was
reason.
in charge, like he was...
Or he
must
saved a
have
bunch
been
of
in
people.
charge
He
of
got
the
a bunch of
regiment.
kills. He probably just an impressive service record, to say the least.
I'm just thinking about him as a tactician at this point.
Yeah.
Talking about this plan.
Yeah.
Like he must have been in charge of some operations. Like he must have been in charge of some sort of regiment. Like there's no way.
But it's almost like this
I don't
is
even
like
know if that's
one-on-one.
necessarily true.
This is like one-on-one. This is chess.
Mm-hmm.
Like this ain't everybody run in and shooting on the beach and you killing and this, that, and the other. This is way different. This follows along the line of he would have learned this before he went to the military, not in the military.
Yeah, I guess so.
If anything, the things that he learned before the military are part of the reason why he survived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting thing. And then another thing is when he was coming up with the plan, do you find it interesting that, but if we could have Clemenza.
Oh, yeah, because he don't trust
Playing that
Tessio
gun.
at this point.
For me. He specifically wanted Clemenza to do it.
Because you can't trust Tessio, because why
He's
weren't
not
Tessio's
sure if
men
he
there?
can
Yeah,
trust
he's not
Tessio.
sure. He's not sure. It's
Wow.
like,
See, I didn't
only go
catch
with I
that
can
one.
trust.
Me neither.
I didn't catch
You
that
got to
one.
know that it's almost like you got to know that Tessio was a traitor from the beginning to even pick up on that. It ain't personal, he says. It's strictly business. Like, he ain't got no beef with these dudes, but it's what's best for the family, you feel me? And the genius part is, since Michael ain't officially part of the business, he ain't gonna raise no eyebrows or look suspicious. Now, police officers are usually untouchable, like off limits for hits. But Michael, he argues that McCluskey is playing dirty, doing illegal stuff with Sollozzo, so he's fair game. And I buy it. I believe him. I really think that he's
agree with
just
that.
doing this to save Vito.
Yeah.
You agree with what? The whole this cop is not
Yeah,
off limits?
this is a dirty cop. He's a criminal. McCluskey's a criminal.
But all the cops that they have on their payroll are dirty cops.
And I think that it kind of points to the fact that it's not really McCluskey. McCluskey is like the collateral damage. The person who's the focus of this conversation is Sollozzo.
Right.
And he says it right off the bat. We can't wait. No matter what he says about making the deal, he's got to kill Pop. He's the key to it. That's the key for him. Because he's looking at it as, okay, Sollozzo is trying to establish the most powerful crime family. And so in order to do that, you got to get the Corleones out the way. Killing Don Vito, that's the key. And Michael knew that. So it's like, okay, how do you deal with the retaliation once this happens? If we just kind of go with the flow, and then how do we deal with the
blowback?
fallout? Yeah.
Clemenza's prepping a small pistol for Michael, making sure there ain't no fingerprints left behind. Clemenza breaks it down for Michael on how to do the hit the right way. He tells him to leave the piece at the scene so no trace leads back to him. And you gotta feel this. Clemenza gives Michael mad props for being a war hero when he served with the Marines. The whole fam's proud of him. And for me, I look at this as Clemenza's way of reminding him that he's like strong enough to do the job. And giving him some validation that he's probably been waiting for.
Especially because, the way he said it, even your father.
Even your
like
father,
we was
yeah.
proud of you. Even your father was proud of you.
Yeah, because Vito's probably pissed he went to the military.
Your father too. So
At least he might feel like Vito was pissed that he went to the military. Like he probably feels like he's got some heat on him from his dad because they haven't talked about it still.
they haven't really talked.
They haven't really talked for the whole movie.
For the entire movie, I don't think you see a conversation between Michael and Vito up to this point.
Until he tells him he's got him, and then Vito...
And that's not even a conversation.
And he has that tear roll down his face. It's like, it's not really a conversation, but it's really the only interaction you see them have.
Well, they did have some, side note, they did have a conversation in the deleted scenes.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta find me a director's cut of The
deleted
Godfather. I
scenes.
swear.
Yeah. They had a conversation in the deleted scenes, and I want to say during the time that the wedding was going on, I think it was Jinko that was passed, who was the Don's consigliere back in the day.
Okay.
And so he brung his sons to pay respect to Don Jinko. And so as they was going to the hospital in order to have that conversation, he kind of stopped Mike, and they had a conversation there. Had more to do with him and his kind of dissatisfaction that Mike went to the military.
Okay. So it was filmed. It's a part of the story.
It's a part of the story.
Clemence's getting homeboy's confidence flowing, telling Michael everything's gonna be straight. The plan's on point too. They're gonna get their informers to suss out where the meeting is going down. Then they'll stash the heat at the scene before Michael, Sollozzo, and McCluskey roll up. And they get that info at the last minute.
Right.
The last.
It's nerve-wracking.
It is, and everybody's, they've got the Chinese food. It kind of looks like one of those scenes from like cop shows where they're all kind of doing this last-minute late-night work, and they got the Chinese boxes all over the place. But I like that they leave you in the scene when you see, you hear the phone call come in.
Right.
And Sonny gets up, he stands up, he walks to the back, picks up the phone, talks, hangs up, and walks all the way back, with that crazy walk that he's got.
The shoulders. With the shoulders. Man. Where do you get these shoulders? It's like some Dwight Howard shoulders. Like, what is this dude get?
All he's doing is shoulder press.
Right.
But the way that everybody at the table is just like kind of quiet. It's almost like they're trying to hear the conversation a little bit. Like I think they know that this is the phone call.
This is the phone call.
And then in the car, like, Michael even gets nervous that they got the location wrong, like, because they're on their way over the bridge to New Jersey, and he's like, oh, like the gun's not gonna be in New Jersey, but it's just them trying to shake the tail and pull some maneuvers to get up out of there.
Right.
All right, so get to the part that everybody remembers. But before we do that, please like this video, subscribe to the channel if you really like the content that we're providing. If you've made it this far, then you probably are having a good time.
Absolutely.
So go ahead and like this video, share, subscribe, check out our other content. Check out the Spot Podcast.
The Spot Podcast, absolutely.
With Kariem Primm and Damian Ware. Tell them a little bit about that podcast, won't you?
Well, the Spot Podcast is a opportunity for us to be able to have the conversations that go on. I've been a barber for 30 years, own a barbershop here in Akron, Ohio. So it's those conversations that always happen in the shop, and then after they're over, you say, man, I wish it was a camera filming all of this. So what we're doing is we basically use the barbershop as an opportunity to be able to collect. It's almost like our little laboratory. And when we have a conversation that really has a lot of buzz around it, and people are kind of, going back and forth of it, we kind of do some work, get some facts behind it. And we want to just give a platform to be able to put that information out there so people can make a informed decision.
Yeah, or so that you can go to the barbershop next week and be a part of that conversation.
Be a part of the conversation. So that's an excellent thing. We have a lot of fun with it, and I think that a lot of people enjoy it. So more feedback. Follow us on Facebook at the Spot.podcast, and we'll continue to bring more content for people to have an opinion on and get involved with. Yeah.
Cool. Check out the Spot, y'all. All right, let's get into it. So before this meetup at some Italian joint, McCluskey pats down my boy Michael, making sure he ain't packing no heat. Michael and Sollozzo start chatting away in Italian for a hot minute, and then Michael's like, hey, yo, I gotta hit the bathroom real quick. And yup, that's where he got that thing stashed. And the conversation they have at the table is all in Italian. I remember you bringing it up that there are no subtitles in this scene. And there's no version of it, right, that has like the subtitles in it.
No.
But there's an actual conversation and a translation for that conversation. And guess what? I have the whole conversation, word for word, right here. And I'm gonna let y'all on what's going on. So it starts with an apology from Sollozzo. Cue the drums. So Sollozzo's like, my bad. Michael's like, don't sweat it. Sollozzo's like, the Pop situation was just business. Got mad respect for him, but his mindset's old school, you feel me? I had to make that move. No other way. Michael's like, I feel you on that. Then the waiter brings McCluskey's veal and then bounces. What I think is cool is that they pause because the waiter's Italian. You know how like, if you're out at a restaurant and you're having a real serious conversation and the waiter comes to the table to like fill up water or something, you just kind of stop. But because the waiter is Italian, they stop. Yeah. And then they pick it back up when he leaves.
McCluskey's not even listening.
Right.
He sees that veal.
That's
it.
Yeah, he gets to chomping away like right away. So Sollozzo's like, now let's figure out our next move. Michael's like, hold up, how you say? Oh yeah. And then he switches back to English and I don't have that part of the conversation.
Okay.
But then the rest of the conversation picks up after Michael's bathroom break. So Sollozzo's like, you good? I got self-respect, you know, can't let anybody hold me down. It was what it was, no choice. Rest of the family's dons were cool with it, unspoken like. If your dad was in better shape and not running the show through you, no shade, he wouldn't be in this mess. We'll chill on the fight until your dad's back on his feet and can talk deals. No payback, just peace. But your fam's gotta stay out of this from now on. And that's when Michael jumps up.
And shoots him in the face. As he deserves.
Wow.
That's the convo.
What does he say that make Michael stand up abruptly and go get the gun? Because it comes out of nowhere. He's like listening to him. I have to go to the bathroom.
That's the part where, that's right after Sollozzo says that he had no choice but to do the assassination attempt. And then Michael's like, I understand that. And then the next thing he says is, all right, so let's start talking about our plan moving forward. How are we going to do this? And that's when he's like, I got to use the bathroom.
Oh, this is how we're going to move forward.
Okay.
I'll go get you my move forward device right now.
Right. It was so many things in there. Even the fact that when Clemenza was explaining to him step by step what to do, he told him I don't know how many times. And when you shoot, drop the gun immediately.
When you step out of the bathroom, shoot them immediately. Come out shooting.
Yeah. Drop the gun. Get out of there. Don't look at nobody and don't look away. He tells him, don't look at nobody and don't look away. And Michael did everything opposite of what. It was like you sitting at home like, man, trying to coach the thing. No, stop looking at him. You know,
yeah,
like it's a horror movie.
Because he's trying to, you're right. He told him, when you come out the bathroom, come out bullets flying.
Yeah.
He says, shoot Sollozzo 2 times in the head.
Yep.
And shoot McCluskey 2 times in the head. Now, they didn't need 2 in the head. He got them both right in the forehead.
Right.
He's a Marine. So it makes sense why he's so accurate.
Right.
But like, it comes across like he hasn't, this is new to him. This isn't just the killing that he's used to.
Yeah.
This is different. And he goes 2 for 2. He takes out Sollozzo, then McCluskey. He hits McCluskey in the throat first, which I thought was interesting because he was like still eating. It's like when he killed Sollozzo, he shot him straight in the forehead.
Right.
And then McCluskey's like,
whoa, he shot him.
Don't you swallow that veal.
Hey, if I'm about to go, this is the best meal in town. I'm gonna get at least one more bite. I'm gonna get at least one more bite of this veal, dude.
Oh man. Well, thanks everybody for checking out our content, checking out our coverage of The Godfather. This was part 1. There will be another video to cover the second half of the movie. Like we said, like, share, subscribe. Thanks Kariem Primm for being a part of our show today.
Absolutely.
Check out the Spot podcast. All those details are in the description below. So thank you. All of you mean a lot to us.
All right.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Wes.
All right.
it.